Hello and welcome all. Welcome all to the new series of web services. In the last previous session, we have been talking about the schemas. In our today's sessions, even we're going to talk much more about these schemas, and we're going to talk for a couple of days on these things. So in the next upcoming sessions, also we're going to talk about the schema. Okay. First of all, in our previous class, what we have done is, let me delete everything so that it will be very easy for me. Okay. The previous session, what we have done is we have created the schema. So what is schema? The schema is nothing but a set of rules and regulations which are required for developing the XML. So without having schema, we should never ever create the XML file. So for each and every XML file, we should have one schema. Okay. So I have created the sample Java project, my own project, and I have created the folder with the name source main resources. This is the class path. Okay. So let me right click on it and say, first of all, let me create the schema. Other, and select schema. Okay, let me select XML. XML, you can see we have two options in the XML. One is XML schema, another one is XML file. So I'm going to go with the XML schema. Okay, it's asking me the name. So as you all know that XML schemas have the extension XST, XML schema design. Okay, so I'm going to give it as employees. I'm going to say finish. So when you say finish, the default root tag of schema is schema. The schema file is schema. Okay, what it's going to have? It's going to have the namespace from the W3 org. So W3C is an organization who sets the standards, rules and regulations for creating the schema. W3C stands for the World Wide Web Consortium. It stands for the World Wide Web. So in the W3, so it has three W's, so which stands for the World Wide Web, and the C stands for the consortium. Okay, so that's the organization who sets the rules and regulations for all these things. So that's name is so we have used their schema names. The schema name is nothing but the package name. If you look at the other languages like .NET, even they have, instead of they calling, in the Java we say packages, right? So in the .NET they say namespace. Even the XML, so they call the packages as namespaces. Okay, so we have used the namespace given by the, we have given the XML namespace given by the W3 org. So this is a standard. So this root tag of the schema is a standard for any, but we need to make a few modifications for it. Of course, I'm not sure how far we're going to create the schema file in our projects, but we may have some separate team who works on this type of stuff, but we'll be creating this XML file using that schema standard. But that's the thing. Okay, let's come now. Here I already said that in schema we're going to have the tag name as XML-NS namespace. So, and one more thing is, in the schema we can have multiple namespaces. Yes, we can have the multiple namespaces, but to differentiate, to separate the ambiguous, so we are going to add the alias name. Just to differentiate between two different or multiple namespaces, we add the alias names. So as we just have the one namespace here, I have created with this name. So if you go right in this namespace, we have one more tag, one more attribute, not tag, one more attribute, that is known as target namespace. So this target namespace is nothing but it's your project related stuff. So let's say that my website is www.A.S.I.F.com. Let's say this is my website. Okay, so I'm creating the for my demo project. So this is the name of the schema. Something your name of your project can be anything. So followed by your website name, followed by your company name, and all the stuff. It's up to you. So whatever namespace you want to give, you can provide it here. So the namespace what you have created, the attribute target namespace, you need to define that thing in another XML namespace. As we already have one namespace, so if you create one more other namespace, so it was going to create the problem. The schema is going to get confused. Which one is namespace? So to differentiate between those two namespaces, we are going to add some alias name. Here we have added TNS, but we can add our user defined name. It's up to us. We can also say ABC. It's up to us. But we have added target namespace TNS. So we have used the same alias name here. And in the namespace, we are going to provide the same URL what we have used in the target namespace. So in the target namespace, let me close all this stuff. It's not required for us. Okay. So in the target namespace, whatever we give, whatever URL we have set, we're going to give the same thing in the XML namespace. Okay. And in the end, we have given element format default. What is this element format default? Okay, first of all, let me copy the target namespace. Copy the target namespace. Then I'm going to copy in these. Okay. So now these both is alias name and target namespace is same. Now we have one more attribute that is known as element format default. So what is element format default? So it's nothing but, so if you say control space, see it's showing two things. One is qualified, other one is unqualified. So this attribute element form default have two values. It can be qualified or it can be unqualified. What is a qualified? If we say qualified, then we can access the elements by using the alias name. So if we specify unqualified, we need to just access the elements by using the simple element. Okay. So I will say qualified so that we can access the alias names by using the alias name. We can access the elements by using the alias name. So that's about this thing. So let me do manually now. Okay. So this is the default tag. We all know that default tag of XML. What is that? Question mark. Okay. Inside it we need to have question mark. Okay. Question mark. We should enter XML and version is equal to 1.0, right? And if I want encoding, you can add it. It's up to us. So that's about the default tag. If we want encoding, we can now add the encoding is equal to UTF-H. Okay. So what is the root tag of the schema? The schema is nothing but it's schema. So let me add that schema here. So in the schema we need to add few tags. First of all, let me add the namespace which is given by the W3 org. Selected the wrong attribute. Let me select the right one again. So inside the schema we'll go and enter control space. So I will select default namespace. So in the namespace we need to give given by the package given by the W3 org. So I will say http www.w3.org. So we need to enter www dot slash 2001 slash wxml gma schema and control space and the target namespace. Control space and enter. Select the target namespace. So what is the target namespace? And it's nothing but your URL. So I will enter http colon double slash your website name. So this is my website name. So I'm going to give. So if you're working in a company, you need to give your company name. So they will be providing that namespace. So this is a demo project, right? I will say demo and employee schema. And this target names should be given as namespace. So I will give namespace. So if we give the namespace, as I already said that, so it's going to create the ambiguity. It's going to create the confusion because we have two namespace. So I'm going to create the namespace here. So I'm going to create add differentiate by using alias name. So what is the alias that name? Give TLS. Okay. And I'm going to copy the exact. It should be exact as the target namespace. I'm going to copy this and paste it. So whoever want to make use of this namespace, I'm going to say this schema, they should add this complete URL in their namespace, in their package. Okay. So at the last, we need to add element format defaultable. So I'm going to select qualified. Okay. Schema, right, let me right click on it, say validate. So why we got this error? XML version 1 is not supported, only 1.0 is supported. Start tag of the schema is this thing, and tag of this is schema. Oh, we have all of them. It should not create any problem. Okay, I'm going to save this. So when I save this, it should go away. I don't know what's the problem here. Copy this and I don't know why these things are not going away. Showing this warning, I don't see any difference between the schema which is created automatically created by the Eclipse and the one what I have typed manually. I don't see any difference. But it's still showing this thing. So what I've done is I have selected I have right click on the Eclipse and selected validation. Not selected. So there is a difference between validation and well form. Well form is for the XML to whether verify whether it's following all the rules and regulations of the schema or not. So whereas the validation is true, it's for the schema, XML schema, to verify all the tags in the schema are correct or not. Not the tags, all the things, the attributes and all the stuff are mentioned correctly or not. Okay, so that's the difference. Let's say right click on it, Okay, so validate. See, no, it's showing nothing. So now we have created the schema, right? So let me create XML file. So first of all, I'm going to manually type everything. So when you click other and select XML file and select the file name, XML file name, and when you say next, so it's asking, do you want to make use of the XML schema or you want to simply create an XML template? So as first of all, I'll go manually, then I'm going to show you how to create it automatically by using XML schema file. So first of all, I'm going to select this thing and say next. So by default, it has added the XML declaration. So next. So now I want to make use of my tag here. So how to do that? Okay, how to do that? Along with it, in the XML schema, I also need a tag, right? Even that thing is very much important. So I'm going to tag known as. So this is the schema file. In the schema file, I'm going to add two things. Okay, I'm going to delete this thing. Select right click on it. Select element. In the element, I'm going to add a tag known as employees, and along with it, its type. Type is nothing but data type. So when you enter control space, it's showing different formats. So I'm going to select int or integer, anything is fine. So I'm saying that the employees is going to hold the integer value. Okay, and I'm going to save this. Let me return back to employees. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that tag known as employees. So, employees. Okay, in my XML file. Okay, now I added the XML file. So now what I'm going to do is, so now I need to make use of my namespace, right? Namespace, what is my namespace? So we should always select the target namespace. So we should make use of this namespace. Let me copy this and go to my XML file. So here I'm going to say control space, select default namespace, and the default namespace I'm going to enter target namespace of my schema. Okay, and save it. So once I save it, here I need to add a few more attributes. What are they? So that's nothing but I need to add XML schema instance, which is given by the W3 org. So to add that one, I'm going to say schema, XML schema. I'm going to add the XML schema instance. I'm adding one more schema. So here I need to give that name. So what is that name? So it is http colon www colon www.w3.org.2001 today XML schema instance. Okay, we need to add this, but it's showing some error. What is that? Let me place my cursor there. I'm saying XML NS was already specified for element employees. So it's saying that as I have given two XML namespace, so it's getting confused. So to avoid the ambiguity, to avoid the confusion, I'm going to add the namespace for this. Why am I adding the namespace for this one, not for this? So if I add the namespace for this, from all my child tags, I need to use this alias names. What I add here, it's need to be prefixed there for all my elements. So to avoid that, I am adding alias name for my second namespace. So here I'm going to say XSI. XML schema instance. XSI is XML schema instance. Then I'm going to add one more tag. That is nothing but I need to say that where is my I need to tell this XML file where exactly my schema is, right? So I'm going to, for that purpose, I'm going to add one more attribute. So what is that? It's the schema location. It's the schema location. So let me select this. So in the schema location, it's asking for the two fields. It's asking for the space. What is that? One is a namespace, other one is location. What is the namespace? So namespace of my project. This is the employee. So I'm going to simply copy this and paste it here. Okay. So what about the location? Location is nothing but the location of our schema file. Look, where is the location? You need to mention that thing. As it is present in the name same location, I'm going to directly give this name, employees.exist. So the location, where is it? So in the XML file, in the location file, I need to give the location of our XML file. So it's, as it is present in the same path, I'm going to give .xsd. I'm going to save this. So actually, the schemas are in the format of URL because they are always present in the form in the internet. It's going to take directly from the internet, as we have created here and present in our same location. So I'm directly giving the XSD. So XML schemas are not present in our drivers, in our local drivers, or in our hard disk. They are always in the form of URL. Okay. So everything is form, but again it's showing some error. Why it is so? Let me place my cursor there. So it's saying that the value element is not valid. The starting tag of the element is employee. CBD valid is not a valid format for integer. Okay, in our schema file, we said that this is of the type integer, but we have not provided the value here. So let me to format this. I'm going to say Control A and Control Shift F. Now this formatted, right? So we have selected with the XML schema, we said it is of data type int, but we have not provided any value. So let me provide some value here. I'm going to say 12 and save it. So when I provide 12, when I provided some value, so see the error is going away. So now it is in a valid format. Now my XML is following all the rules and regulations given by the XSD, my schema. Okay. This is how we make use of the namespaces. This is how we create the XML file by using the rules and regulations given by the XML schema. Okay, so now let's do one more thing. Let's try in a different way. We already know about the Spring Bean configuration file. Yeah, we already have seen that how it's going to be and all those stuff. For a purpose, I'm going to close this thing. So let me create a Spring Bean configuration file. I'm going to show that example. So how the beans namespace is, and first of all we are going to try manually, then I'm going to show how it is created there. Okay, first of all let me show you. Let me create Maven project. Say next. I'm going to select default one, and on the default one I'm going to give a name as Spring Demo. Okay, and the package is going to add the project name. I don't want that. So this is my Spring project. So the Spring project by default is king 1.5. But at the background is taking 1.8. Okay, I will do one thing. Right click on it, say properties, then say select install JSC, add, next. What happened? If apply and close. Okay, so apply and close. What happened again? Not change the name. Select alternate JSCs, install JDK, okay, apply and close. So you can see now it got changed to 1.8. Or else if you really want to change directly in the properties files by mentioning the source and target as 1.8 version of the Java, you do that one as well, but I am not interested. Okay, I'm going to forward XML, and for the Spring, I need Spring context. I just need a core module. So I'm going to select, go to Google, I'll go to Google, say Spring context manual dependency. Select the latest one. The latest one is 5.1.6. Select this, copy this, and paste it in my dependencies. Ctrl Shift F for the formation. Save it. I say save automatically to build workspace, and it's going to download the required jar files for the Spring framework. So let me create Spring Bean configuration file. To create Spring Bean configuration file, as we are using Eclipse, not STS, you need to download manually. You need to go to Marketplace and download STS3, because Spring Bean configuration file is available only with the Spring STS3, not STS4. Okay. So as I have already downloaded STS3, so you can see all the Spring related jar files have got downloaded. Now I'm going to create the class path. Sorry. New. I'm going to have a source folder. I'm going to create inside the source main. You can also create in source main Java, but I'm going to create inside the main, and I'm going to give the folder name as service sources. So finish. So I'm going to right click on it, say new, other, select Spring Bean configuration file. Okay, so I'm going to give it as spring.xml. Finish. So when I say finish, you can see it's asking me the namespace. What are the namespace you want to select? So by default, it's going to select Beans namespace. Finish. So you can see by default it has selected the Beans namespace because for the Spring Bean configuration, Beans is required. Okay. So here, if you look at this thing, you can see to understand this thing, we don't require any knowledge because we have already practiced with one of our examples. So let's try this thing. So let's observe what exactly it has. Okay, fine. We just had a glance, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize this, close all. I will go to my demo project. I'm going to go to my demo project and select source main resources. I'm going to create, right click on it. So I'm going to say other and create my XML file. XML. Okay, XML file. So name of the XML file is, let's say that it's spring.xml. Spring demo. Spring demo. I'm going to say Spring demo and say, so I'm not going to select any XML schemas and all those things. I'm going to simply say next. So it's adding default declaration. I'm going to say next. So this is my Spring demo XML and this is my Spring XML. Okay, so we are going to try, first of all, going to try. So to add the, so what, so let's say that we want to add the name beans namespace. Bean namespace provided by the beans. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add beans, beans namespace. Okay, fine. I need to add bean namespace. What I'm going to do is select beans. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to say control space. It's asking for the namespace. So it's asking for the namespace. See, I have already downloaded Spring 5 software manually zip file into my local drive. Let me show that one. So I will go to see my folder where I have downloaded on all those stuff. So okay, so I have already downloaded 5.1.5. If you look at this thing, we have a folder known as schema. So in this schema, it's going to have all the schemas. It has AOP, bean schema, cache, context schema, and all those stuff. So let me select beans. So you can see it has XSD file. What is XSD file? It is a schema. It is a schema. Let me right click on it. Say edit with notepad. So if I open this thing, so you can see all the structure, all these things. Okay. So here what I need to do, if I need to make use of this schema, I need to copy the target namespace. So I'm going to copy this target namespace. I'm copying the target namespace. Okay, good. So where I need to use in the wherever XML file, wherever you want to make use of it, you need to paste it there as a namespace. Okay. Now what I need other XML. Now what I need the XML instance. To create the XML instance, what I need to do is, so I'm going to say XML namespace. So let me try this. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Wow, it has automatically created the attribute for the attribute namespace XSI, XML schema instance for the schema instance. Okay, good. Now we need one more thing. What is that? One more attribute. What is that? It's the schema location. Schema location. So I'm going to select schema location. Why it has selected this thing? So I'm going to say Control A, Control Shift F to format it. So look at this thing. So now let me, as I formatted, let me enter control space. Yes, now it's showing correctly schema location. I'm going to select schema location. The schema location, it's going to ask me, it's asking me two values. What is that? What are they? One is namespace, other is location. In namespace here we have already defined, it's nothing but target name location, target namespace. So I'm going to copy same thing and I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So what about the location? What about the location? Location of the schema. It is the location of the schema. So as I've already shown, there is a schema location. You can right click on it, say properties, go to security and copy the complete path. Copy the complete path and save OK. Go to this thing, go to your Eclipse and paste the complete location there. Paste it there. This one is also fine. But as I said, in the real time, we're not going to have the schema files in our local drive. So what I'm going to do is control space. I'm going to go to website and search for the name beans. Go to, what is the website of the Spring? It's Spring Framework. Sorry. Spring framework.org slash what is that? So you can simply copy this one and paste it there. Inside beans we'll be having, I don't know what it has. Let me open this. Okay, you can look at here, it's showing all the versions. So I'm going to do, I need the latest version. I'm going to select this. So this is my path. So if we open this, so here it's showing the same thing. So the file what you have downloaded and the one which is present in the website, both are same. So I'm going to directly copy this and paste it in my XML location. This is the XML schema location. I'm going to copy it directly. Done. It's done. We have created XML schema, XML bean configuration file on our own. We have defined each and every tag on our own. So let's check spring.xml, which is automatically created, and the one what we have created. Let's compare both the things. Definitely there will be no difference. See, both are same. There is no difference at all. You can simply copy this and paste it there. Definitely there will be no difference at all. This is for the spring beans. Okay, this is for the spring beans. Let me create for the context. So I'm going to Control S. So I will go to Spring Demo. Let's say that I want to make use of the one more namespace, that is context. So so you can directly create it here. So how you can do it? You can directly enter and say Control Space and select default namespace. In the default namespace, I am going to give the alias name it as context. So context, I am going to give the location. What should be my location? It's the location of the target namespace. So how I'm going to get it? I'm going to say it will be the same as beans, right? So I'm going to copy this and check whether we have something known as context. I misspelled it. Okay, yeah, we got it, man. We have this. So I'm going to simply copy this and paste it in my target namespace. What is it? Context. So what is my, and the same thing should be present in my, so I'm going to say context. The namespace should be same in the schema location namespace. So whereas for the XST file, what is the XST file name? Let me go there and check it again. See, this is my XST file. So I'm going to copy this complete path and add it there. Complete path. Paste it there. Okay. Oh, I have done wrong thing. What I need to do is, along with the beans, I need to give space and then paste this string context. So to format it, I'm going to say Control A and Control Shift F to format. Okay, I've done a few mistakes, so that's the reason I got this. You need to keep the beans namespace. So simply what you need to do is you need to copy the context as a new namespace. Okay, and in the location you need to add one more namespace with this URL. This is the schema location for the context. Now we have the bean XST file, and along with it we have the context XST file. So I have provided two XSTs. Let me format it now. It has, this is my target name, the schema location. This is the target namespace, and they have provided two locations. One is the Spring Bean X schema location. Other one is Spring Context namespace. So this is the XML, the schema what we have created by entering each and every field manually. So let's go to the Spring demo and select the Spring XML file. So here this just has Spring Beans. So I'm going to go to the namespace and select the context namespace. So when you select context namespace and go to source, you can check that namespace has got added. See here, it got added. So if at all you want to change the version, it's up to us. You can go to namespace and select context. You can see different version. It's showing different versions. So you can select this one. Okay, and go to source and check it. So you can see it has added two namespaces. One is beans. Okay, got it. We have made a mistake. Here if you look at this thing, in schema location we have added the namespace of the beans along with the schema. So again we need to add namespace, this namespace. You need to copy this thing and paste it after bean schema. So this way, so it becomes this the target namespace of the context, and this is the Spring Context XML schema file. Okay, so now you can save it and compare with the with the Spring configuration file which got created automatically. So you can see there is no difference at all. So that's about the schemas for now. So tomorrow sessions we are going to talk much more in detail about the schemas. Thank you all.